Welcome back to Eye on the Money, and today on the show we're talking about how to make a quality investment decision. And with me in studio is none other than Noni Kihagi. She makes sure she reminds me that the way to say her name is Kihagi, the founder of Mirror Wealth Coaching. So Noni, before we went to the break, you told us everything in very good detail, and I enjoyed it on what we need to know to make a quality decision. However, I need to ask you, when you're making that investment decision, we've seen people who have the money to invest, they're in a position to invest, like really, should I call them, like we've seen TV shows, sharks, dragons, they're just there, they're ready to invest. So, but they're not really trying to do that donkey work, they're not really trying to have a full-on involvement in that, they're just trying to put their money there and have the money work for them so they can get returns from it. What would be your take on that? As someone who decides to invest in whatever I decide to invest in, is it very, very important and critical that I have somehow my foot in or some sort of involvement, much as it might not be 100%, do I have to have some sort of involvement in my investment, or can I just get a team of people that I trust and leave it to them? How then can that affect my investment?
You need to be involved.
Somehow,
in fact, the more you're involved, the better you are.
Right.
It is for you. Even if you listen to when you're watching all those TV shows, Shark Tank and all this, they always, if you notice, they always say, I want something that they have a favored segment they prefer, right?
Yes.
So you'll find, like, for example, if it's Damon John, he likes going into the fashion because he
Yes,
understands it,
right.
right? So that when you're giving him, when you're having a discussion, right, and he's bringing his expertise, he will be able to tell you, you're lying to me over there. I know this
I'm in the industry.
You need to be involved in your money. Let me tell you, it's your money. You worked hard to get that money.
There's nothing like hands off.
You can't be hands off, and that's what even now you suddenly find, even when you watch all these celebrity shows, right? And then you suddenly wonder, how did this person make all these millions? And then they have a manager who is actually making the money, and they had no idea. You have to be involved in it. It's your money. At the end of the day, yes, you can have people to advise you. And obviously, the more you have, probably you have your accountant there, you have your tax advisor there, you have all these people. But guess what? Even then, they're working for you. You have to be in charge of it. And it's the same thing even you notice with all these Forbes billionaires, right? Like someone like Bill Gates, when he steps out down as CEO, he doesn't leave the company.
No.
He's there, chairman.
Right,
You
oversight.
Some even create a new founder.
Yes, I see you. I see you,
Yes. You know, some of us are still founder, CEO, and everything. But then they're like, so I shall still be here.
I'll have a CEO, I'll have a, but then I'll be the founder.
I'm still there, right? It's your money. If you're not responsible for your money, who is?
Right.
Because you're attached to your own money. You know what it took for you to actually get it. You know the times you woke up early. Yes. You know when you're over there burning the midnight oil. Then after you get the reward, you just give someone else to do what they want.
Not gonna work.
It doesn't work.
So Noni, even as you talk about tie to an objective, fully understand the business that you're going in, know where your money is going, know how much you have, a lot of times when you hear people making an investment or going into a certain business, you hear about the role market surveillance or market research goes into it. How important is this in making a critical investment decision?
It's important, but it's not everything.
Okay.
Yeah?
Okay.
So let me say why it's important. Obviously, you want to understand the market you're investing in, right? So for example, if you're starting a business in Nairobi, you want to understand what's happening in Nairobi. You want to understand how is the economy in Nairobi doing. You want to understand, okay, how does this particular industry within Nairobi actually do? So you do want to have market research, right? However, you need to get to the point where you can be able to sift between the fundamentals of the market and the market noise.
Right.
So usually what happens with market research, a lot of the times you might end up getting a lot of the noise, right? So if I give you the example like now, the noise that's currently in the market is coronavirus, right? So if you look at how even globally, how the stocks are performing, my gosh, it's so dismal, right? But then you have people who are, people like Warren Buffett who are saying, you know what? Continue.
Right.
Don't sell off. You know,
Right.
he likes saying, as we are going back to our sayings, be greedy when everyone is fearful and be fearful when everyone is greedy.
Right.
So this is according to, if you look at people who are looking at it from a long
fearful
term.
and he's like, keep going.
Keep going,
Right.
right? So you want to be able to sift that. It's sort of like even when you get into investments in Kenya, every time when this politics is at its heightened
Right.
state, when elections are coming, suddenly when you look at the NSC, you see people are
Yeah.
really afraid, right? So if you listen to the noise in the market, then
It
it
might
hinder
distract you from the goal.
Right. So what you want to look at, even as you get in your market research, focus on the fundamentals, not on the hype and not on the noise. You have
Right.
to be able to sift the two so that you make your decisions based on the fundamentals. So for example, if you're having a business in Kenya, what is the expectation of the economy in Kenya? Focus on that.
Right.
What is the GDP growth? Look at what look at the decisions the Monetary Policy Committee makes. So it also gives an inclination of, okay, so this is the direction interest rates are going.
Right.
So if interest rates are going these directions, what does it say about the overall economy? So those are the things you want to focus on, not the heightened noise that comes.
Finally, Noni, we've touched this, but I feel like we really kind of need to give it a little depth, and also I feel like this is the note we need to end on.
Okay.
A lot of investors' biggest fear is losing money, right? I fully understand that with any investment, with any business venture, there's always that risk. However, how can it be minimized? Isn't that what, even as we go into making the investments, what we're looking for? Minimal risk, minimal chances of us losing our money. So even as I go into investing in whatever I invest in, what should I keep at the back of my mind? So what do I need to know to minimize my chances of loss?
Okay, first thing you need to know, no matter what you do, markets
gonna
are
lose.
markets. It's not that you will lose, but you just need to know that if you're looking for 100%
Not gonna
safety, please
happen.
don't invest. Just put it in a savings account somewhere and, look at it and be happy.
My money is there.
Every investment has a risk, right? So what you want to do is, obviously we've already said, understand what you're investing in, be objective driven. And another thing you also want to know is, what is your risk profile? How much risk are you
I like
willing
that.
to take,
Yeah.
right? So for example, if you're a conservative investor and then someone gets you into the matatu business, my God,
You're done for.
you will be in hospital because every time the conductor calls you, you're like, oh,
no.
what has happened?
Right.
So you want to sort of marry into investments that are similar to your risk profile, right? So if you're conservative, look for conservative investments. It'd probably be treasury bill like, and
That's good advice,
investments,
yeah.
right? If you're aggressive, the world is yours.
It's
you
your
know?
oyster. Choose.
Choose
Take
which
that risk with that business. Take that
Yeah.
risk with that business and that business.
But make it a calculated risk, right?
Right.
So still do your homework when you're still choosing those investments. And also one thing I also want to add, just because you're conservative or moderate or aggressive, doesn't mean that your investments all have to be that way, right? Majority should be, but also don't let your conservative nature
Hold you back.
deter you from maybe dipping into moderate. Start small,
Right.
try moderate, then we go into moderately aggressive. So you want to really know what is your comfort in risk level, because that will even help guide you to where you're actually going to go, right? The other thing you want to do is look at historically how are those investments known for doing. Past performance is not a guarantee of future performance, but it sort of gives you an inkling
Yeah.
that this is sort of how the businesses or the investments in this particular sector invest when these certain things happen, right?
Right.
So okay, when all things are good, because we all like, what is that economic term? Ceteris paribus, all things held constant.
It's the one thing I took away from my economics class and I take with me every day of my life.
So all things held constant, this is how it will invest. However, political risks come,
Right.
right? Market risks come. Geographical, climatic, all sorts of risks come, yeah? So you do want to take that into account. The other thing you also want to look at is your time frame. Right? So you want to know, so if we go back, even back to my original example of, so I want to be in South Africa, maybe that's a goal that I didn't know I had.
Think about it.
I
Just
will.
really think about it. I feel like my show has shown you where you want to go.
I think so, yeah. So it will tell me I have we're in the 3rd month already, so maybe 9 months to sort of get my act together. So meaning my time frame is 9 months, right? So I need to look for investments that will be liquid enough or close to cash enough that on the 9th month, if I start today, I can get my money out, right? But if I go into, for example, an investment like land now, I mean, for 9 months,
Yeah, it's not gonna
it can take 9 months to sell that piece of land. So
Yes.
those are things you also want to look at. So you want to look at your risk profile, you want to look at what is your time frame, and you also want to look at then also the expected return of the investment. And then just marry all that with your homework, you know. And this is also still what I want to say. You can do all that, right? And there's no guarantee that you will.
There's just no guarantees
There's
in this
no
world.
guarantee, but at least you'd have made a calculated decision.
Right.
So that even if maybe you are expecting a 10% return and you got an 8% return, it was not what you were expecting. But guess what? At least you did your
At
best.
least, at
yeah.
least.
So that's what I also say. And then also look at things you can also benchmark against, right? So I always say, for instance, if you get into investments that perform worse than the T-bill, hi, my gosh.
What are you doing?
What are you doing?
Which investment is this?
Yeah, so so you want to look at things that you can also benchmark against and that you can also just keep track of. So even as you're investing, you're looking at, okay, I invested in this, but my eye was still on this.
Right.
So that I'm like, okay, so the next time, maybe I will dip a little bit into this other direction. So those are things you also want to look at.
Noni, I can't tell you how amazing you've been on the show. You've brought that energy, you've brought that information. I'm so sure right now my audience at home is grateful because for sure, now we know how to make a quality investment. Unfortunately, as sad as I am, it has been a really, really great show. We've come to the end, but I'll leave you with a financial tip. Sometimes the quality of the investment is dependent on your needs. Take a look at your long-term plans for your money and your life. You want investments that are likely to help you reach your goals and fit your needs. A high-quality investment is one that provides you with the chance for a reasonable return and is tailored to fit your needs. Be clear about what you want your money to accomplish and the time frame you expect to go with it. That way, you know your needs are being met and the assets you choose work best for you. That's everything Noni was saying. But that's where we wrap it up today on Eye on the Money. But you can keep the conversation going on our Metropole TV pages at Metropole TV KE on Facebook, Instagram, and Twitter. Don't go anywhere because we have so much more amazing programming coming your way. I'm Ingrid Nantige.